Good afternoon. From the KUOW newsroom, this is Seattle Now. I'm Paige Browning. Coming up, a story about a former beloved firehouse and community center for Redmond teens. But first, here are today's top stories. It's Tuesday, July 22nd. Starting with the wildfire situation across our state and nation, federal wildlife officials have raised the national preparedness level to 4. Not a lot of people know what that means, but I'll tell you, you want to be closer to a 1. If things get more intense, that could mean calling on the military and other countries for help. From the Mountain West News Bureau, Murphy Woodhouse reports.
The National Preparedness Level, or PL system, is a 1 to 5 scale that indicates how busy a season is. When determining the PL, officials consider fuel and weather conditions, current fire activity, and the availability of resources to respond.
When we reach preparedness level 3, we usually have several geographic areas that are competing for resources, and we're usually able to meet most of those resource needs nationally.
That's Sean Peterson, the manager of the National Interagency Coordination Center in Boise.
We're at PL4 right now because our national resources are heavily committed.
At PL5, which was reached July 18th last year, things get a bit more intense. That's when active military can be brought in to assist, along with firefighters from Canada and other international partners. Forecasters expect this season to be heavy through September. I'm Murphy Woodhouse.
Here in Washington, the Burdoin fire burning near the town of Lisle is threatening popular areas, so recreation sites are closed for the rest of the summer along part of the Columbia River Gorge. From Oregon Public Broadcasting, Tarek Anthony reports.
The Burdoin fire continues to grow in Klickitat County, reaching nearly 11,000 acres as of Tuesday morning. On Monday, the U.S. Forest Service issued an emergency order closing 6 popular recreation areas along the gorge. Visitors cannot use any roads or trails on the closed sites through at least November 30th. Affected areas include the Klickitat Wild and Scenic River, Lisle Trailhead, Catherine Creek Recreation Area, and more. Fire officials did gain some ground on fire suppression early this week, but warned of warm weather in the coming days, with 35-mile-per-hour winds potentially worsening fire conditions. Since it broke out last Friday, the Burdoin fire has destroyed 14 homes. Its perimeter remains 0% contained. Reporting from Portland, I'm Tarek Anthony.
In other outdoors news, the plan to shoot and kill barred owls may be scrapped after all, at least in California. The controversial plan is meant to get rid of the invasive owl species in California, Washington, and Oregon. But now, the Trump administration recently canceled $1 million in grants to California's Department of Fish and Wildlife. Barred owls severely threaten the endangered northern spotted owl. So far, there's no word on what will happen to Washington state's grants. Now to law and politics news. King County prosecutors have charged a 33-year-old Monroe man with assaulting a conservative influencer. The alleged assault was at a No King's Day demonstration in Seattle last month. Jeremy Lawson allegedly punched influencer Cameron Higbee near the federal building downtown, giving him a concussion. Lawson's being held in King County Jail awaiting trial on third-degree assault charges. Moving on to health news. What's going into the old polyclinic building on Broadway on Seattle's First Hill? It could be King County's next 24/7 crisis center for behavioral health. Eilish O'Neill has more.
At a recent public meeting near the proposed site, some Capitol Hill residents said a crisis center can't open soon enough in their neighborhood. They want people in need to have somewhere to go. But others expressed concern that it would bring more drug use and violence to the area. The county says the location is convenient for patients because it's close to bus lines, light rail, and freeways. And it's close to 3 hospitals, which would make referrals and drop-offs by police or firefighters easy. If all goes as planned, the county could purchase the building by the end of the year, and the center would open in 2027. If the Broadway location doesn't work out, Central King County probably wouldn't have a crisis care center till at least 2030. Eilish O'Neill, KUOW News.
Hundreds of U.S.-based doctors, nurses, and other medical professionals will soon move to British Colombia. The province has been specifically marketing their recruitment to Washington State, Oregon, and parts of California. The BC Ministry of Health says over 2,000 doctors, nurse practitioners, nurses, and other healthcare workers have signed up for webinars on how to move their careers northwards. BC Health Minister Josie Osborne says combining the marketing campaign with streamlining the accreditation process is proving successful.
I think we're on the right track and that we are not going to let up these efforts to reduce the barriers for physicians and nurses, nurse practitioners to move here to British Columbia, continue to streamline the credentialing process, looking farther abroad, of course, than just North America, but into other countries around the world.
Since easing rules earlier this month to certify doctors from outside of British Columbia, the College of Physicians and Surgeons in BC has approved 29 applications from doctors currently based in the United States. A few more stories to keep tabs on before our feature story. We may find out soon who the 4 Seattle police officers were who attended President Trump's January 6th rally at the U.S. Capitol. The officers have dropped a lawsuit they filed 4 years ago to try to keep their names out of the public eye. They lost that argument in the Washington and U.S. Supreme Courts, by the way. However, an investigation by SPD found the 4 off-duty officers did not commit crimes January 6th. U.S. Senator Patty Murray is asking the Army for answers today as the Lewis Army Museum at Joint Base Lewis-McChord prepares to close. The closure is part of a broader Army plan to consolidate several of its 41 active-duty museums. They expect to save more than $100 million over 10 years. Advocates say the museum does not struggle with low turnout or building issues. And pet care company Rover is expanding its reach. Rover is set to acquire a large Australian pet sitting marketplace, MadPaws. The $40 million deal includes MadPaw's marketplace side of the company, but not its e-commerce division. Rover previously just focused on North America and Europe. Now for our feature story about a firehouse that Redmond's teens really miss hanging out in. City council members in Redmond will consider tonight what it might cost to reopen the old Firehouse Teen Center. The city indefinitely shuttered the beloved building and center back in March. As Noelle Gasca reports, that closure left many young people without an important gathering place.
Concerts and Battle of the Bands have been encoded in the DNA of the old firehouse since its inception in the 1990s. Some footage from a show in 1998 now lives on YouTube and shows the firehouse packed with teens socializing, moshing, and singing along to their favorite lyrics. During a Friday evening back in June, another Battle of the Bands took place, but it wasn't your typical OFH affair.
Welcome to the 2025 Battle of the Teen Bands. Performing on the Red Oak stage will be 2 exciting acts.
About 30 people, mostly adult family members and supporters of those performing, sat politely in folding chairs at the Redmond Senior and Community Center. There was no moshing, no screaming along to favorite lyrics.
You know, it's really sad to see Battle of the Bands sort of become something like this. You can really tell just the impact all this has had already.
That's Chester Rose. He competed during last year's competition and took second. The all of this Rose is referring to is the city of Redmond's decision to indefinitely close the old firehouse back in the spring. When that happened, the community started to splinter. The firehouse used to be the home for teen programs and events in the city and would draw youth from all over the east side. Now it's a challenge to get teens to show up.
Because it's here and not the firehouse, you know, I'd imagine a lot less people would even know what was going on or just want to go.
When the old firehouse was closed in March, the city cited long-term structural challenges that made the 73-year-old building unfit to be used.
Because the building was built back in the 50s, it has all of the typical building materials from that time: asbestos, lead paint.
That's Lorene Hamilton, the director of Redmond's Parks and Recreation Department. She says that in order to get a full assessment of the building, they had to take a deeper look, and that required removing teens. Estimates from a consulting firm say it would cost the city just under $9 million to renovate the firehouse, and more to build a new facility. In the meantime, the city has been encouraging teens to go to an interim home, the Redmond Community Center at Marymore Village.
This looks like it was made by Microsoft. This looks like a internet cafe.
That's Wolf Adriatico. She shows up to Marymore just about every day. She's not a fan of the space, and she's not alone. Typically, she's the only teen from OFH who drops by.
I've been trying to make this place as appealing as I possibly can, but it's very hard.
Adriatico says the city has tried to make efforts to make the space more inviting and incorporate touches of the old firehouse, but most teens aren't returning. And lately, staff members from OFH have been talking to Adriatico and letting her know it's okay if she wants to stop coming.
It sucks that that's what they have to say, when at the old firehouse, it wasn't at all like that. It was telling kids, you gotta get out. It's 8:30, you have to get out of here. It's closed, we're closed. Because it should be somewhere that you want to be. The teens want to be, but it's not.
It's been hard to keep going, Adriatico admits. But instead of giving up on Marymore, she says she's doubled down on her commitment to show up. Because recently, another teen has started coming by on Wednesdays for band practice. Noelle Gasca, KUOW News.
That's all for today from the KUOW Newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Brooklyn Jamerson Flowers, and I'm Paige Browning. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. See ya.